Hi everyone, welcome back. Happy Friday. So I know it's been a little while since I've come to you guys to do a video here, especially a video response and to an email that I received. I actually received a series of email from the same person that I've been wanting to get to. So I'm finally around to it. And I see that this person within, let's see, a matter of February 22nd, February 18th, February 13th, February 11th. Gosh. It's like this person is sending emails like every week. So I'm going to address this person's email, right? Which I've addressed. He sent emails before, a few emails before the ones I'm going to address here in this video, relating to his fetish. And for me, it sounds like he's more homosexual. I get it that a lot of men, especially white men, are in denial about their homosexuality. And this has come up before, where a man expressed like his interest in certain activities, but denies. Okay. I knew I felt something in my nose. Sorry, guys. Sorry, but you know it's no shame in my game. But it's like, okay, so they express interest in certain fetishes, right? But then they want to deny that they are gay or homosexual. Like, oh, I'm not gay. And it's just like, do you know what homosexual means, right? Their argument is that, and I've heard this from like multiple different men, especially white men. They go and say, well, I'm not gay because I don't like men like that. I don't like men in a affectionate way, right? Or a romantic way. It's not that I will be hugged up with another man during the daytime, right? And so that's when I go to make a joke to say, oh, well, you only like men at night. The fact of the matter is you like men. No matter what time of day you like them, the fact is you like them. You're attracted to them. You're attracted to them sexually, right? So homosexuality is regarding one's sexual attraction. It has nothing really to do with one's romantic attraction, right? Or if you're in love with a person. You don't have to be in love with a person to be sexually attracted to that person. So let's be reminded of what the definition of homosexuality is, because you have many men who are in denial, right, about their sexuality, because for various reasons, you know, oftentimes there's a lot of stigma surrounding homosexuality. So they're like, they're wanting to hide behind the mask of being a straight man who just likes to get fucked in the ass, essentially, you know. Or likes to suck, you know, another man's penis, but we know the truth of the matter, you know. And there, of course, there are different stages of the coming out process, so I definitely get it. But, you know, why try to hide? Why try to, like, fool yourself, right? You're not fooling anyone but yourself. So, I did get this smoothie, you guys, on my way home. And I'm going to indulge in it. But yeah, they just don't want to be called gay. Anything but gay. They practice gay activities, but they're not gay. It's like a white person saying, oh, I don't want black people in my store, but I'm not a racist. I just don't want black people in my store. No, your ass is racist. Call it as it is. Some people prefer the term sexually fluid. I get it. as opposed to being called gay. But anyway, so I'm going to read a series of emails. Now, some of this I'm just going to like skim through because it's like baloney to me. I feel like some people, I think, sometimes send emails because they just want attention. They don't really have a legitimate concern or topic that they want to address. They just want to be verbose just to be verbose. All right, so I'm going to start with the most recent email that he sent and then work backwards. Now it is what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 emails. Right? Let's see how much we're able to get through here in this video. So he sent this email on March 7th, which was 4 days ago. This week he says, "I'm going to try to quit porn," which I thought was interesting, and that's kind of what prompted me to go ahead and do this video. Given that he is so obsessed with certain fetish activities within the lifestyle of cuckolding and BDSM, all of a sudden he's like, "I'm going to try to quit porn." He says, "Over the last month or so, I haven't been able to have sex with my wife due to being unable to get an erection." I think he's just making this up. Who knows, right? I thought that was kind of funny. And I think I read this. I think when he sent it. I thought it was hilarious in a sense. And I do have a kind of awkward sense of humor. Alright, we have the right to laugh at whatever we want to laugh at, right? Different things tickle us in different ways. And that definitely tickles me, right? Because it's just like, it's like the prime example of people wanting to receive pity for things that they've done to themselves, right? It's like you did that to yourself. But you want someone to feel sorry for you when you did to yourself. And it's just like the prime example of people I mean, we are the author of our own lives, right? And it's just, it's like, to no surprise, what do you think was going to happen? You know? It's like the person who eats a bunch of junk food, right? And then they're like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so big. I've gained so much weight." But they just sat there the entire and eating all their junk. It was like, what do you expect to happen, right? But all right, let me not be so abrasive in this video because I get it. There are some people who just aren't self-aware and they act out of impulse and they get caught up, right? They get caught up in certain things. Porn is an addiction, unfortunately, just like anything else that brings a person pleasure. You know, if it brings you a sense of pleasure, then of course you're going to go back to it. You enjoy it. Before you know it, that thing now has control over you. You've given it control. So he goes, "I think porn is a cause, so I'm going to quit." The cause of him not being able to get an erection. It's interesting that he says his reason for wanting to quit porn initially is the fact that he can't get an erection. "And I'm interested in seeing how it'll affect my fetishes, though I suspect once gained, they will never go away." So he hasn't been able to have sex with his wife due to not being able to get an erection. And, I mean, I think this is no surprise, right? Like, if a person is really self-aware, you can see, I think before it gets to that point where you're not able to get an erection, right? Like, you got to think about how much porn has he watched to the point where it gets to a degree where he's not able to even get an erection, let alone sustain one. You have to have watched a lot of porn, put in a lot of time into being stimulated by these unrealistic, we know that porn is not the real world experience, right? When you look at porn, like anything you see fucking on television, on TV, on video, that's outside of the realm of reality, right? Like, these are actors. It's not fucking real. You know that's not real. It's entertainment. And yes, it bothers me because I've always been the person, first of all, I don't watch TV, right? And I'm not easily persuaded by visuals that I see on a screen necessarily. Now, I'm not going to be so pompous to get on here and be like, oh, I never watched porn. Of course, I have watched porn. Shit. It's like, who hasn't? And I would say the period that I watched porn the most was when I was younger. So I am 38 years old. But yeah, there was a time in my life when I was in my teens, right? Late teens, that is. And I was exposed to porn, right? And yes, it's arousing. And it's addictive. And you like it. And this whole part about watching porn as a teenager, knowing that you're not supposed to be watching it, like doing something sneaky, right? It just kind of heightens and exaggerates that sense of arousal and that edginess, right, about it. It just makes it that much more exciting. And so, yeah, I remember, and for me, it wasn't even about watching porn to have, like, to get aroused to have sex, because I know some people watch porn and for them it leads to arousal and then, like, they engage in sexual activities themselves. But for me, when I was a teen doing it, it wasn't even about that. It was just about the excitement, the arousal. And over time, I think it's just like something with age and with maturity, right? It's just like porn becomes less appealing. That's what happened for me, right? It's just like becomes yucky. You watch it and then you get that dopamine rush, right? And everyone knows, like, porn, along with any other substance, right, any other stimulus that arouses you, right, it's going to affect you on a physiological, biological, neuropsychological level. And to the point where, of course, like, you're stimulated and it activates certain centers in your brain that releases these chemicals, the neurotransmitter, dopamine, and it makes you feel good. And it kind of takes you, first of all, out of your current reality, right? It's like a form of escapism. You escape from this reality, whatever your reality is. And for a lot of people, I think, who have addictions, their reality is far from anything nice and comfortable. If anything, is painful, it's traumatic, it's something that they have difficulty sitting in, right? And accepting. So they escape from it. They have many different ways of escaping from it. Some people turn to drugs, like chemical drugs, such as, marijuana, cocaine, or alcohol, right? To kind of wash out the harshness, the grotesqueness of their current reality. They just can't handle it, right? They can't stomach it. They can't sit with it. So they escape from it. And likewise, porn is the same type of substance. It's the same type of stimulus, right? It's the same type of mechanism that people tend to resort to. They tend to become attached to and fascinated by and addicted to, unfortunately, And like I was saying, like, it takes a lot of porn watching to get to the point where now your body, like, you've rewired your body, right, in your mind, essentially, so that it doesn't even function the same way. It doesn't function how it's supposed to function, right? Like, and I'm speaking about this person here who sent this email, and it also can apply to other men who this situation applies to, who are in this situation, where, yes, before you became addicted, right, and lost this sensitivity in, that area, right, in certain areas of your body, you were able to get aroused by your partner, specifically your wife, right? You were able to enjoy sex and get an erection, And then now it's like you've become so desensitized to it because you have inundated yourself, right, with these hyper arousing images, these videos that are far fetched from reality. And it's sad because it's like, it's one thing to watch porn and to enjoy it, right? It's there for a reason. It's entertainment. It's stimulating, right? It can be motivating. It can give you certain ideas on positions and activities, different things that's outside the box that maybe you didn't think about, right? And then that's one thing, right? And then there's another thing where you allow it to become an addiction, right? You watch it so much to the extent where, like, some people, they neglect responsibilities that they have in their real life, right? They may have little children they're supposed to be taken care of, and you sitting up here in the room watching porn. Some people got it so bad where they be at work. Yo, I've gotten, like, and it's something that is sent out, like it's a message, just that's a notice that's sent out, like a memo within the organization that I work for, where they're telling employees, like, as a warning to not use the organization's devices, computer and email essentially, to watch porn. And I'm like, that should go without saying. Like, it's sad. That's how you know it's bad, right? You know it's bad when your ass is in a place where you're not supposed to be doing that, at work, and you're watching porn. Is it that bad that you can't even control yourself? That's a real bad addiction. That you can't even wait till you get home to watch it. Some people they got it so bad where they have a partner, right? Partner can be sitting right there in the same room as them, but yet and still they're watching porn. And the partner is unaware of it, right? They're sneaking and doing it. And that also, I think, can obviously heighten the arousal when you're watching something, when you're doing something that you're not supposed to be doing, right? You're sneaking and doing it. Just like I was talking about earlier, me being a teenager and doing that, right? It's the same thing with being a married man and your wife doesn't know that's what you're doing. Just 2 feet away from you, you're on your phone or your iPad and you're watching porn. And so I just think it's funny that it had to result in a negative consequence, right? For him to say, all right, I don't need to do this. It's like, you mean to tell me, out of all those hours of porn that you watch, and I know it had to have been hours before you get to this point, where now you've reconditioned your entire body, mind and body, to only respond to a certain stimulus, right? Or degree of stimulation, which apparently your wife is unable to provide. It has to be through a screen with people, with actors and characters doing all these acrobatic tricks and things of the sort. But you mean to tell me there was no point in time that there was a whisper that said, all right, this maybe isn't the best thing for me to be doing right now, right? Or maybe it's enough. This is enough. Maybe it's too much, right? Like, you have to get to the point where your penis don't even work anymore. Like, I gotta drill this in because I just don't get it. Now, I think there is hope, right? Because I think that what's happening is essentially a form of conditioning, right? It's something that you've conditioned your body to respond to, right? What you see not being able to get aroused is because you've shut down certain systems within your body. Same thing when you build up a tolerance to a certain drug, right? You've taken in so much of that drug to the point where it requires so much of it for you to get an effect, to feel an effect from it. It's the same thing with porn. It takes so much of it for you to be able to feel an effect from it, to really enjoy it, to really stimulate you in the way that it did, let's say, when you very first watched those videos, right? That's interesting. So that's that. We're going to come back to this email, but I thought that it was important to open with the most recent email that he sent. So the next recent email that he sent was February 22nd, where he says, saw your video, wanted to clarify a few things. And I think it's important for you guys watching this, and you guys who enjoy the back and forth discourse that we have here when you send me email topics and I respond. Please make sure you at least include the link to the video that you are referencing, or at least the title, so I will know. It may be better to include the link because you do have certain videos, different videos, right, with the same title. And I don't want any confusion. So he did in this email, he left like timestamps to each response that he gives in this email. But it's not sufficient because I'm like, what the hell video is he talking about? I mean, I think sometimes you guys forget that I have a life outside of doing this, right? Like, my life is very dynamic. I like to create videos. This is what I do for fun in my spare time, my free time. But my main thing that I do, my main gig is I'm a clinical psychologist, and I work at a hospital. So, and I do that full time, all right? And I love what I do, but I like to do this too. So I just want to, reiterate that you guys just keep in mind, okay? Keep in mind that when I tell you I have no idea what you're talking about, I don't. Because I felt like this video was so long ago, even though it could have happened a month ago or 2 months ago. It's like not in my purview, so I really don't know what video he's referring to. But he says, I'll list my replies with a timestamp to your video for reference. 12:12. Sorry, but this is going to be very crude. Now, I remember when he sent this initially and I read it, I was just like, I'm not going to read this. I actually, you know what? I actually was going to block him and delete this, right? And of course, with Gmail, you can flag something as spam so that you no longer receive it in your inbox. And I actually was tempted to do that, right? But then I said, all right, if I can get past this opening line here that I'm going to read, maybe there is some substance to the email, right? For me, like, I don't care about you guys. I said this over and over. I don't care about your fucking dick. I don't care that your dick is limp. I don't care about none of that, right? Like, I mean, we can talk about these fetishes and how it affects you guys. And if you have, like, a significant interesting story, like, cool, share it. But some of y'all, like, I feel like some of the things that you guys share is, it's annoying, it's offensive, and I think that you guys are just doing it to get off, like, sexually, on it, and that's not what my platform is about. Granted, I know the way I approach certain topics can be arousing, stimulating, especially psychologically to you, and that's good. I don't mind that, but don't be jerking off to my fucking videos, okay? So I'm going to read it anyway. He says, when masturbating for a few hours, my dick will get hard every so often when I view something very arousing. It is in those 2 minutes that the best shot to work. Like, why is that necessary? Who gives a fuck? Okay? Unless I ask you specifically. But if I didn't ask you that, why is that information? That's your business. Why is information even relevant, right? He says, if you don't, then the session is prolonged. Even then, it is still possible to get off with the limp. Oh, I think when we're talking about, yeah, but I think I only mentioned that, like, about ejaculating with not limp dick. How is it even possible? I just, like, why are we even talking about this? I just feel like, how is this even relevant, right? Make it make sense. So then he goes on to say at 1608, which I don't know what the fuck video he's referring to. But anyway, he says, I fear it's a slippery slope. If I do ever engage in the fantasy, then it won't be long till it begins to dull, and I'll feel the urge to push new extremes, diminishing returns. Yeah, like after a while, you try something over and over again, it gets played out, right? It loses the excitement. And I think for people, that's why I like to uncover the psychological underpinnings of these different fetishes, because it goes deeper than a person having a desire for another person to bust their balls, or for them to engage in cuckolding activities, right? Meaning cuckold, and it's something else that's pushing that behavior, that's motivating them to want to even engage in that fetish, right? And so that, to me, what is most interesting, and oftentimes, like, I see through all of the surface level shit that y'all are talking about, to really see, okay, what is it really? Because a lot of y'all, and it's so clear, like, a lot of y'all, first of all, are very insecure. A lot of y'all do have like trauma histories. Like, it just shows, right? Not everyone, because I know some of y'all be like, oh, well, not everyone has trauma. No, not everyone, but you can tell the ones who do, and the reason why these guys are drawn to this type of lifestyle in the first place. It's almost as if it is hardwired in their DNA that they crave it, you know? Diminishing returns. I've talked about this a bit in my last email. It's similar to my porn preference. As a teen, a simple new woman would be all it took to get me out, blah, blah, blah. After viewing thousands of new women, it just doesn't cut it anymore. Yeah, like, you've become desensitized to it. The more exposure you have to a certain stimulus, you become like more habituated to it, so it doesn't even have the same effect over time. You know, it's programming, right? When you think about the media, and when it comes to these racially oppressive events that are happening in society, especially as it relates to police brutality, the more they show that to African Americans, right? Like a cop beating a black man, or arresting a black man wrongfully, you know, it's like people become desensitized to it, and that's kind of like the end goal, right? At first, yeah, it becomes very triggering, right? Emotionally arousing, and people kind of get sucked up into this emotionalism, and it's a distraction, right? But then it's also, the more they're exposed to it, like, it becomes like, all right, big deal. And then you'll hear people say, when they post like videos, right, those racial videos of white people doing things to black people, you'll see people in the comments saying, oh, you're surprised at this, you're surprised. And it's just like, really, it should, in a sense, have some type of effect on you, right, psychologically and emotionally. But at some point, after you've been exposed to it for so long, so many times, it's like people become numb to it. So that's how they can generate their responses. Oh, well, you're shocked? I'm not even shocked by this. It's like they're unbothered, you know, and I don't think that's a good thing either. But that's a protective mechanism, you know, that happens naturally, to become unbothered. So yeah, you got to be careful in how you guys approach these activities, right? You're married, right, and you have a wife to satisfy, and your goal, right, is to still be able to penetrate her. And we know, for penetration to happen successfully, you have to be able to get an erect penis, fully erect penis, to do that, to penetrate her and to sexually satisfy her. But you're watching all this porn. So it's interesting. I did a whole video on erectile dysfunction. This was back when I was in LA, and I was talking about the causes, or the correlates to this dysfunction. given that, I mean, it can stem from many things, right? It can stem from stress, you know, just some people just are stressed. It makes sense. If you're in high stress, you would not have an inclination or need to really have sex. For what? You worried about how you're going to eat, where you're going to sleep, right? If you're going to be able to afford to pay your light bill. So in those kinds of situations, yeah, a lot of men suffer from being able to get an erection and to enjoy their sexual relations with a woman or their partner. Um, Alcohol, drugs plays a significant role in that too. You know, it has an effect on the body, and it's important to know what kind of effect it has. You know, what you take in. Isn't it amazing that just that something you see visually, right? We're talking about videos, movies, porn. You see it with your eyes. That being taken in can have an effect on your brain. The brain controls the entire body. Essentially every system in your body. It's all connected. So, isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing? Some people go to say, oh, it doesn't, like, what I watch on TV doesn't have an effect, but it does have an effect. And the way that you can counter that is just to watch what you watch. You know, some people think they can get away with watching whatever they want to watch on TV and think that it's just not going to have. No, it's going to have an impact on you. The question is, what impact it's going to have. Castration, though often used to mean removal of both penis and testicles, actually means just removal of the testicles. As a penectomy. Okay, I know I'm saying this so wrong. Penectomy. I think that's how you pronounce it. Penectomy is removal of the penis. I say it regarding my testicles, though in the fetish they are often intertwined, but for me they give two different vibes. To lose my penis is arousing in a way, but very much so strictly fantasy. For one, it gives me pleasure. Two, it serves another function. So you are saying that you want to remove your testicles. That's why you like the whole ball busting activity. Testicles, though, are tied to manhood just as much, and a lot of men will consider loss of our penis as something that would warrant suicide or close to it is very dark feeling. Meanwhile, lots of men can live without balls without too much change to their lives. Oh, is that true? But you need your penis, huh? I mean, yeah. But you have people that they get their penis removed too. And they're still able to do the basic functions, right, of urinating. She was raped in Foxy Brown in early movies. I know she did a lot of women in prison movies, so he's talking about Foxy Brown. Though those are mostly women on women violence. Side note, Quentin Tarantino is a fan of hers as well. Even had her star in one of his movies where she at one point threatens to shoot a man's dick off. Weird thing about Tarantino movies, in nearly every one, guys get their junk shoot off. Django Unchained being the most graphic. Twice Jamie Foxx targets the groin in detail. So yeah, you're attracted to those movies for a reason, right? Because you like the idea of castration. Have you considered making a separate channel for sex talks? Because I think at that point I was like, I don't want my channel to just be fixated on sexually related topics. Though I enjoy talking about these things. If I didn't, I wouldn't do it. No, I want my channel to be very integrated. No, I have enough things to manage. I don't need to create all these different 1,001 channels. Absolutely no. Yes, most cuckolds are so for fetish reasons. I know there are couples that both fully enjoy it, but it starts as a man's fetish to please himself. Duh. Duh. People want to say that they do things for the sake of pleasing their partner, but when really it's inherently, primarily, they do it for themselves. Selfish reasons. He is very concerned about how people view me. Yeah, it's clear that you are concerned about, because you're very insecure. Right? You can see insecurity. You can sniff it like many miles away. SPH means small penis humiliation. Okay, I was curious about that because I was like, what the fuck is SPH? Alright, got it. Hard to interact because I never know when you will be live. Gotta get back to my homework. So for you guys who are your homework, what, you in college? What do you do? What are you studying? He says about being hard to interact because you never know when I'll be live. So it's not a surprise. It's no secret that I record all of my videos that you guys see here on YouTube. Most of you guys who are watching this will be watching on YouTube. These videos are recorded on Facebook. And I know some people say, well, I don't got Facebook. Well, that's not my problem, okay? I like to record on Facebook because, you know, I feel like it's an easier platform to navigate. And it's not that many glitches. I've tried to do live videos on YouTube where I record the video actually live on YouTube, and there's been so many glitches. It's just like the video is jumping, and I know sometimes with Facebook it chops up, but that's the extent of the glitch, whereas YouTube is just, yeah, it's too much. The whole, like, the video itself is like literally jumping, right? And you see like my face moving weird and like, nah. So I don't have time for that, to be honest. Alright, so going back to his previous email before that, one he sent February 18th. He says, I'm quite vain. Didn't mean to sound like I'm practically good looking. Rather mean it as a flaw. I care a great deal too much about others' opinions of me. These are better pictures to gauge how I look. Now, he's not a bad looking guy. I mean, so he sends, I'm not going to show you guys, but he sent in this email 2 different pictures, where it's both selfies. One, he's sitting like, or he's standing in his closet. Interesting, right? To take a picture in the closet. Subconsciously. What does that mean? In the closet picture. Why did he choose to go in the closet to take a picture? I don't think, was that conscious? Or more probably so unconscious, right? And you can see like his clothes in the background. He's saying that he has a wife. Do you guys have separate closets? Because I don't see any woman clothes in that closet. I don't see no woman clothes there. I see men clothes. He has a mustache looking like Mario from the Mario Brothers. Alright, and so the other picture he has is a selfie, but it's facing a mirror. So you can see like his full body. He's sitting down, Indian style, with his cat in the background. I think he is not married. He says, but I don't look like, it don't give married man vibes from these pictures. It gives like very bachelor vibes from the picture. A cat. A cat? Not to say married couples that have like pets and all like that. Cats, but yeah. Yeah. Then, I don't know what kind of phone that is. Doesn't look like an iPhone though. But anyway, that doesn't really matter. It just looks like, I don't think he is American. He just doesn't look like, the cues from the pictures don't look American. But anyway, let's continue. So the email he sent before that one was on February 13th. He says, I had to clarify. Oh, he got to clarify. Okay. I had smoked a bit before I emailed you, and when I thought about it later, I was cringing at how I wrote. While there are some misspells and probably missing words or just poorly constructed sentences. No, I think compared to other emails that I've gotten from different people, this is good. If it wasn't, I will make a note of it. And then the other one that you're referencing, I can't remember. But the points were accurate and honest. I did want to add to how I feel when I see the black penis. Akin to seeing a bodybuilder is not a gay. Yo, if you like it, like, how can a person talk that much? I think, like, you're obsessed with it. He focused more on the black penis than I do, right? And I am heterosexual female. Now, I like the black man, right? And who don't like some good fucking dick? Good dick, right? But for him to, he's fixated on this shit. And I think the more you deny or repress truth, the more, like, it comes to surface, right? And the more it reveals itself, the more it manifests itself. So maybe that's what he's trying to do, like, inadvertently, by denying his fixation or fascination with black men, essentially, right? Or it's just a black penis, It seems like it is. It's more objectification. And I think that's also, like, a factor in his inability to get, like, an arousal. Like, let's break this down. Think about this. Let me make sure. Let me check out my battery, make sure I got enough percentage that we have it. It's gonna stay on. So think about that though. These down low men. Like, think about it. Like, what if he's like naturally, biologically attracted to men, right? But then, he's doing like most men do in society to conform, right? To be accepted. They date and marry women and pose themselves as heterosexuals, right? So what if, and not to minimize or undermine the negative impact of porn, because granted, we've already talked about that and how that can definitely cause adverse effects on one's biology and their sexual arousal response, right? To the extent that, you can fucking end up with erectile dysfunction, not being able to get up when you want to with your partner, watching so much porn. That could be one negative side effect of excessive porn watching, essentially, right? But what if that's only part of it? What if a big part is that you don't even really have an attraction to women necessarily? That you're really attracted to men? What if your penis get hard when you're in the presence of a man? Now, if you identify yourself as a submissive man who likes to pleasure black men, what if your shit start getting hard when you're sucking a man's dick? Now, granted, this is all hypothetical, but just to explore this theory and to expand the conversation, the thought process surrounding this, right? It's like to do an experiment to see. Now, I'm not saying do it, but I will be curious to see what if it's the fact that you're not attracted to women sexually, but you're attracted to men. Because you got men that be out there trying to shame women and be like, oh, you don't get my dick hard. So they'll blame the woman. Now, at least he's taking responsibility, saying he knows that it's somewhat linked to his porn watching, right? His addiction to porn. But then you do have men that are some fucking dickheads, and they'll try to attribute their inability to not get an erection or maintain an erection to a woman, saying, oh, it's your fault, kind of thing, right? Makes you wonder. All right, let's continue reading. Okay, he said, it's not a gay feeling about, he says, when you see the black penis, is akin to seeing a bodybuilder. It's not a gay feeling, and I'm sure it's common among all men. I don't think it's common. No, it's just you, bruh. And again, you want to normalize it to decrease your level of discomfort or cognitive dissonance when you're talking about this, right? As we're addressing it, especially publicly. But listen, it is what it is. Not all men. Just speak for yourself, right? Whenever you hear a guy call another guy a beast, he's expressing that feeling. He's trying to build an argument, right? He's like, it's complimented to his workout and results. I'm not sure if women feel that way though. I think, yeah, women, we admire each other. I mean, beauty is beauty, right? Like, so, irrespective of one's sexual attraction, to the same gender or the opposite gender, like, yeah, I think it's natural for women to just express their attraction, their appreciation for the physicality of a woman's body. That is not, that's common. So I think he's saying, likewise, in the same vein, men have their way of doing that too, to other men. Just giving respect to, I guess, where it's due, right? Because you see yourself perhaps in that other person in a sense, right? So, like, let's say if you appreciate health, right, and physical well-being, and you see that as a man, another man is physically fit, then you're going to acknowledge, first of all, you're going to be attuned to that. So you're going to see it, you're going to acknowledge it. It's going to get your attention essentially, right? And then you're going to have a reaction to it, an emotional reaction and a connection to what you see, because it's something that you admire, you desire, and you respect. Okay. He says, look at Arnold Schwarzenegger in his competing days for best example, the inferiority. But I do think there's a gradient to it, right? I think it comes on a spectrum, right? It's one thing to say, oh, like, you appreciate a healthy looking man, right? Then you taking it a step further. So I think, yeah, he just wants to normalize it so he feels comfortable and to lessen some of the stigma surrounding being gay. I'm not here to stigmatize being gay, right? It's already stigmatized. I'm just here to call it like it is. And people have their own process and way of being comfortable in their sexuality and their sexual expression or sexual attraction to whomever they are attracted to, right? They have their way of doing it. I think this is his way of kind of maneuvering around the stigma, to not identify himself as a gay man, but to say, hey, like, yeah, this is socially acceptable to express attraction to the same sex or same gender. The inferiority, I feel, is based on me being absolutely convinced I'm a pervert. Yeah. I mean, when you think about it, and it's like, anybody who has watched porn, especially you sitting there and like, your ass just fixated on that shit, right? Like, you're kind of like a peeping Tom. You think about it. You're watching other people have sex, right? You're a voyeur. He says, if put into terms, who is a better person, the perv or the non-perv? The non-perv comes out ahead. They have less baggage to deal with. Penis-sized adds to the feeling. I know you probably think that's stupid, but I think it's hardwired into men. No, it's hardwired into your ass. See, that's the issue when people project. Projection is a defense mechanism, right? So you feel a sense of unease, and now you want to project your belief onto someone else to say that, no, this is everyone. No, this is you. This is not everyone. There are men who do not feel anything about any kind of way about another man. If anything, they probably repulse with the idea even. So you can't assume that, okay, just because you feel this way, that all men must feel. No, that's how you feel. Now, you're not alone, I don't think, right? You're not an anomaly in a situation, but yeah. You can't make a blanket statement either. And men. He said, but I think it's hardwired into men. It's hardwired into you. Maybe, and this is a big maybe, it's because we have that leftover animal instinct to spread our seed as much as possible. Dick size is a factor for mating to everyone at some degree. Mating, not like when you think of mating, mating is mating, right? Mating is for the purpose of procreation, and we know what it takes to procreate, right? Talking about opposite sex. And when you're speaking along the lines of being sexually free or fluid, that has nothing to do with mating. This is where the confusion happens, and people like to confuse things that really shouldn't be confused. The things men do to get laid, we can improve in many ways, but we can't change our dick size. I am at a disadvantage to my animal instinct goal. But you don't need a fucking, I mean, I get it. Someone make the argument to say that dick size is strongly correlated with a man's propensity, or likelihood or ability to attract women or to like impregnate women. Essentially, that's the goal of mating. So it makes sense that if a man has a smaller penis size, he's kind of fixated on that. He feels insecure about that. And that is deeper than just not having a sufficient penis size, but that is linked to one's desirability in the dating pool, one may say. But there are men that got small dicks that got a lot of kids too, that be fucking too, just like the next one, right? So I think it really speaks to your own perception of your lack thereof, right? Your penis size, and how that negative perception inhibits you in your interactions with women, right? And your ability to effectively relate to women. That is you. Now, you're not alone. Of course, there's other men, not all men, but there are other men who can relate to that scenario. But it's still your perception, though, of having this insufficient penis size, right? And how that could get in your way or become an obstacle. Perception is something that can be changed, though, right? Your dick size can't, but your perception of your dick size can. I am at a disadvantage to my animal instinct goal, and animals that are at a disadvantage don't make it. But that's more just a wandering thought than something I really believe. It sounds like something you really believe. It sounds like something you really believe. The things men do to get laid, we can improve in many ways, so we can't change our dick size. I'm at a disadvantage to my animal instinct goal, and animals that are at a disadvantage don't make it. Alright, that's powerful right there. That's why I read it more than once, right? Because he doesn't look like he have any children. He don't give father vibes. He just gives like bachelor, beta male, passive male vibes. Especially with that cat in the background. Pets are companions, and not to say that people who are partner don't have, pets, but it's highly likely that, if a person has like a cat especially, that's like their companion, which is a kind of replacement for that human companion that they want to have, but they have difficulty, right, having. I love watching nature shows. One of my favorite things is the bird mating calls. That's so random. That's so random, y'all. I had poured ginger in my smoothie here. He says the males bend over backwards just to get a female to look at them. They dance, they tweet, they build house, beds, shrines. It's just fascinating. And that's how really it's supposed to be done. So when we think of how things are done like in nature, right? And you mentioned birds as an example, right? Within nature. And it's fascinating. Nature, you know why nature is so fascinating? Because it's nature. And we know nature is the closest thing to, people say, God or a higher power, right? You know, it's just the way things, how the way things should be, how things should be. It's like the natural order of things. That's so fascinating because you see, okay, things in their rare form, their natural form, their purest form, right? And then you see humans. We are not in our natural form. There's much talk about this too. And that's why you see like groups of people and people coming together to form cults and tribes and just trying to get like in tune, right? Reattune, refine and reconnect it to nature. And they detach from this society and they go and live in the tropics and they just try to find like a space in on this planet that they can feel themselves, they can be themselves, and they can connect with other people where they are able to truly rest in that natural state of how we were originally created to be. Because yes, there are many external forces that inhibit that ability within certain uh, societal context, right, or social context. Um, Especially thinking about America, it's just so many distractions and chemtrails and things in the water and the media and just social ways of being that it does interfere. And with that, the socialization and people are conditioned to act in unnatural ways, behave in unnatural ways. And when he's talking about the birds, he said the male birds bend over backwards. It's just like, yeah, that's how it's supposed to be, right? But men are socialized to do something different, especially in the new age men now, following behind the likes of that life coach. I can't mention his name. I don't want to mention his name. But KS, right? And this whole talk about fucking high value man and high value man and men think that they are the prize and they don't, a woman's supposed to bend over back and this and that. It's just like it kind of creates a imbalance and disorder. But continuing, he says, yeah, it's just fascinating. Also, I'm average height and weight. I didn't take the time to take a good picture, didn't think it mattered, but thought that people, including myself, judge on appearance. I'll just say I made sure I look nice to grocery shopping. Friends say I'm the most well dressed and stylish of the group. I don't know about that. Yo, how old are you? I'm just curious. You're still worried about what other people think? But anyway, I try on several clothes before I leave the house because how concerned I am about how people view me. Granted, that's fading as I age. Alright. I might end it here because he has this other video. He has this other email that he sent, right, entitled "My Troubling Obsession with Black Man's Penis," and then he goes into like, because it's in reference to a video that I was citing Dr. Frances Cress Welsing. He talks about that, so maybe I will save that for another time. Then he also has another email that he sent back in 2021. I'll read this because it's a short email. So he says, "Hi, a question regarding cuckolding. Do you think the rising popularity of interracial porn, cuckolding, and sissies has to do with porn saturation?" I think I may have addressed that before. And when I said, yeah. But then, no. I think, yes, media plays a major role in it, right? But I think people would naturally gravitate towards certain activities anyway, right? Let's say irrespective of porn, or if porn didn't exist, or they weren't exposed to these types of porn, they still would have a kind of natural gravitational pull to certain things they would want to do anyway. Porn definitely, I think, reinforces these activities or desires, these fetishes. He says, I know I had the odd ball busting fetish since before puberty, but once I started to watch porn, it evolved. First, it was just getting hit in the nuts. Now I fantasize about them being crushed or cut off by black women these days. Further evolution, I suspect. I think the same is happening with cuckolding. At first, it was just interracial, but over time, I got into cuckolding, and now, as a straight white man, he's emphasizing his proclaimed sexual preference when we know is whatever. When I masturbate, I think, imagine sucking a black dick. The two, like, how can you say that in the same sentence, right? Straight white man, but then when you masturbate, you think about sucking a black dick. How much is this natural, inherent in my genes, and how much is it from warping my mind of constant porn viewing? Yeah, obviously you watch a lot of porn. I mean, going back to the very first email that we read here in this video, your most recent, he says, this was March 7th. So we go from that one, sex question, sent August 27, 2021, right, where he's talking about this obsession with sucking black dick, to March 7, 2022, he goes, I'm going to try to quit porn. He didn't say that he was going to quit porn. He says, I'm going to try. So he already recognizes that he's failed before he even started, right? And he recognizes, obviously, the power that porn has over his life. So much so to the point where he's not even confident. First of all, he's not even confident as a man, period, right? Let alone his ability to master overcoming this obsession and this addiction to porn. Over the last month or so, I haven't been able to have sex with my wife due to being unable to get an erection. Go figure. I think porn is a cause, so I'm going to quit it. But you quit it, then what? Right? Okay, you stop watching porn. Maybe you see that obviously it's going to be a challenge for you during that withdrawal phase of having this impulse, this urge to, however you watch porn, you open your phone, you open your laptop, your iPad, but you have this urge to open your device, right? Pick up your device, type up the website, and blah, it's there. So what do you do with those impulses? You just ignore them. You distract yourself from it and do something else. What do in place of not watching porn? When you get the impulse is going to come, right? You know it's going to come because you have a certain time, probably intervals of periods where you do this activity, right? You watch porn. And it's like your brain is going to be telling you, hey, it's time. Hello, I need my fix. Hello. Right? And so when there's an addiction, this is like, it does alter your brain chemistry, right? You've rewired how your brain is supposed to function. Hence the reason why your ass can't get an erection, because your brain is connected to this, right? So now you're going to try to rewire your brain to function to a certain sense of normalcy. And you're going to just quit watching porn cold turkey. Interesting. Let me know how that goes. I'm curious to see how that's going to go. And for you guys who can relate to this particular scenario, you've been there. Maybe you had a porn addiction and you overcome it. Like, how did you get through it? How did you overcome that porn addiction? or if you're still going through it. Feel free to share if you may, if you wish. But I think that that's funny. It's still funny to me. I think porn is a cause, so I'm going to quit it. You're going to quit it for your wife or for yourself. You could be both, right? It's not to say just because you like to suck dick that you don't also like to sexually satisfy and stimulate your wife, because you can like both if you even have a wife, right? Sounds made up to me. But you can do both. Though I suspect once gained, they will never go away. Those fetishes, I mean, your fetish is a fetish, right? It's there for a reason. That's why I like to explore with you the psychological underpinnings of the fetishes. You, meaning in general, people who send me emails, like, let's talk about that in addition to the fetish, right? People talk about, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that, in terms of the fetish that they are drawn to. But it's like, okay, have you thought about why? Like, I've done a lot of deep soul searching myself, and I'm very self-aware. I know myself. I know why I like to get spanked. I know why I like to be in bondage, right? Beyond, oh, it makes me feel good, right? Or I get aroused or whatever. Beyond that, right? You know, some people can't take it beyond, oh, it makes my dick hard or make my pussy wet to do this. But why does it make your dick hard, right? Why do you get aroused when you do these things? What is it? But exploring that, obviously, the root cause of it, it can be life-changing for you. So the question also is, do you need to do away with the fetish, right? Like, is it causing significant interference in your day-to-day life, right? Negative interference, right? And how so? I mean, granted, the porn addiction, you made it clear, right? But in terms of your fetish, right? Porn is just like one thing. But you're talking about a fetish that you have. Like, you mentioned certain fetishes, right? Attraction to black men and sucking dick. I mean, does your wife know about this? Right? Because that in and of itself, I wouldn't necessarily say it's a bad thing, right? I mean, it's a fetish, right? You like to suck dick, but that's not really a bad thing necessarily. It's just something you enjoy doing, right? And maybe can be incorporated in your relationship with your female partner, you know? Sometimes, I think, because obviously when you think about porn being entertainment, a lot of people take to it because, yes, it's like an escapism, but it's like a fantasy. Like, you get to live vicariously through other people. But think about it, right? It's like you go back to it because you got aroused and you got satisfied and you got like your fix physiologically and psychologically speaking. But you keep coming back, right? It's like, what is pulling you back? Perhaps there's a void. What is a void, though? What's missing? Now, we can take it psychoanalytic, right, and go all the way back to maybe childhood or something like that. But maybe it's not even that deep, right? Maybe it doesn't go all the way back to that. Maybe it's just inherently, you crave a male's energy. And you're not getting it in real life. And so you're chasing after something through a screen that you're not getting. You're not giving to yourself, but you're getting through the screen. And you keep coming back to it. And you keep coming back because it's just like, think about it, right? It's like, it happens too in life where you just drawn, you pull, right? The universe somehow pulls you. It happens to me. It's like, wow, why do I take this route? I keep going this way. It's the reason why I'm going this direction. Why do I go this way? And then somehow you find out, oh, this is why I've been going this way, right? So you keep going to that website and the video. You keep watching these fetishes, things happening in videos. Keep being pulled there. Because I said this before, right? People say, well, it's the porn. That reminds me, I think I did address that question about how much is it natural, right? A natural gravitational pull, right? Inherent in your genes, and how much it is from warping of your mind of constant porn watching. And people say, oh, well, it's the watching of the porn that kind of reinforces one's proclivity towards a fetish or activity, right? Fetish activity. And it's just like, okay, yeah. But what drew you to that, right? Why that particular fetish in the first place? You know? So here we go. It's like the whole chicken egg conversation. Which came first? Did the watching of the porn come before the fetish, so that you watch this simultaneously? You just stumbled across the video of this fetish, right? And then you get addicted to it, right? And then now it becomes something you crave. No, that's not how it. It's something in you that pulled you to that. That's how it works. Because why that? Why not a different, you know how many different fetishes they have on these porn sites? It's so many. Why that in particular? Right? Why cuckolding in particular? Why ball busting in particular? Why whatever? For me, it's bondage. I know why. I definitely know why. And I've talked about this before, so I'm not going to address that here. On that note, I am going to end this video, you guys. Feel free to drop your comments below. Share this video. It's interesting, right? It's just, this is what I like to talk about. The why of human behavior. The how. But more so the why. Like, what is causing you to be pulled in that direction? Because even if you stop watching porn, right? Because I say, okay, you stop watching porn, then what, right? You quit porn, the addiction, you get a handle on it. The fetish is not going to go away. You're still going to have that craving. So you know that it's not so much the fetish then. Or, sorry, you know that it's not so much the watching of the porn that causes this fetish. The fetish is still going to be there, even when you stop watching the porn. Because that's what you like. That's inherent within you. Right? Now, the porn, I think, operates as like the watering of a seed. Right? It feeds it. It helps it to grow, the fetish grow even bigger and bigger and bigger. But the fetish, that seed, right, is already there. It's in you. And I think that the activities, right, like, okay, sucking dick, fellatio, right, same sex, fellatio, it's like, that's an outward expression. But underneath that is an energy field, right? It's something that is pulling, it's like a magnetic force. Something that is pulling you in the direction of that, to explore why that direction, right? How is it that you're being drawn to this? It's not so much, oh, well, you saw this on TV or you saw it in a video. No, right? Yes, you did see it. And when watching it, vicariously, you became aroused, right, through these characters. But not everybody gets aroused, right? You can expose different people to the same exact video, and some people will be like, they're not aroused by it. But you're aroused. Aha. You get my point? So I'm going to end there. Share your comments below. I'll catch you guys in the next one.